Hey nerds, we are doing a live review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, starting now. Welcome to the Nerd Soul Show. I'm Nathan.
I'm John.
And I'm Colin.
Hey, so we all saw Quantumania either yesterday or today, and we are gonna run down what we think about the movie and also do a breakdown of it a little bit later on. John, you went to see it yesterday. What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was okay. It was good. I liked the movie. However, I didn't find it great. And I still believe that the recent movies from Marvel, they're definitely lacking a little bit in quality. And this one is no different. There are some standout performances, particularly Jonathan Majors. I think everyone's raving about it. And it's justified. He has quite a presence in this movie, and it's the one performance that's most memorable out of all of them. Paul Rudd does great, but I feel like all the other characters are a little bit more subdued. The newcomer Kathryn Newton, who plays Cassie in this, is definitely a different Cassie from the one we last saw in the Avengers movies. And I thought she had a lot to live up to, even in the short stint that the previous actress did. And this one just didn't. It didn't. She didn't. Her portrayal didn't really resonate with me. Didn't really stick with me. I thought she could have done a little bit better. But Michelle Pfeiffer looks fantastic. Michael Douglas is also great. But I felt like there was also a wasted cameo in this movie, and just overall, it was just too much. The CG backgrounds felt like it just felt way too fake to me, and it just got tired. And the story itself, I thought was a little bit too big, and it's not the typical Ant-Man story. And so I thought it overall was a bit of missteps. Still was funny, has its funny moments as well. It is quite an adventure that the story took in the quantum realm. But overall, again, I would say it was good, not great, and I think Marvel needs to definitely focus on its quality.
Okay, Colin, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with John in a lot of this. I think that in our thumbnail you mentioned that I think the Rotten Tomato score is now down to 48%. It was like yesterday it was like I don't know 54. So it's like getting into the territory of Eternals. I think Eternals finished with like a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I mean, I don't agree that it's that low, but I can definitely see that there's some issues with the quality, like John said, with Marvel over the last few movies. I mean, I think in our pre-production, I mentioned about last year, and I totally forgot we had Thor: Love and Thunder. That's how forgettable. That's how forgettable Thor: Love and Thunder was. I totally forgot that it came out last year. I just remember Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and of course, Wakanda Forever. So for me, yeah, this is just pretty average. It's not like anything is stands out or anything, except for except for Jonathan Majors' performance. I think that he's brilliant in this movie. But yeah, everything else is just like average. It's just straight up average, and it's enjoyable. And yeah, but it's nothing to be like so excited about. If this is the beginning of phase 5, it's kind of okay. We want more, but not to the extent where we want to know more about Ant-Man or anything else like that. It seems as though he is who he is, like a character that's not very significant. Yes, he was very significant in the Avengers movies. Yeah, they kind of revolve a story around him, but in this case, it just felt as though there was too many characters at once. I think that, you know, Hank Pym was not utilized as much because of the story. There were other things that were going on. We'll talk about it later, but yeah, overall, I would say it's just average, and that's where Marvel has been for these past few movies and even through Phase 4. I mean, yes, I'm not as disappointed as say like other fans are, but I can see what the complaints have been so far.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with where you guys are. I will say that I like this more than most of the movies last year, except for Wakanda Forever. I think it ranks above both of those. I think Thor was a mess. Um, it was also a waste of Gore the God Butcher. Um, uh, sorry, not Quantumania. Multiverse of Madness didn't have much multiverse or madness in it, and yeah, it was, and it also did Wanda wrong. It was just a weird movie. I think I marginally liked it better than Thor, but like this movie is kind of playing in the same area as those two movies. Like I said, like from Phase 4, I think Shang Chi and Black Panther are kind of outliers. All the other ones are kind of like middle range. And this is sort of like another middle range movie. It's like I said, it's better than those two movies, but those two movies were kind of middling. Like Multiverse of Madness and Thor were middling to me. Um, Depending on the day, I have one above the other, but like they weren't great. I still think that this had more of a clear narrative of what it was trying to do, but it still had too much like randomness. There's just it's just packed full of CGI and and locations and characters. And I think that like the production design people, they earned their checks, and it was all beautiful. But like you didn't have any time to actually take any of that in. Like honestly, the quantum realm beings are more varied and interesting than the space people that show up in the Guardians of the Galaxies movies. But you only get to see them for like a few seconds, so or less than a second. They're just like in the background, and then like in a panning shot. It's like that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting thing, but you don't get any time to actually like take any of those beings in, and there's no real explanation about how they're down there or anything like that. So like yeah, there's a lot of shortcuts in this movie and a lot of things thrown at the screen. I think Colin, you were saying that uh um Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, is not used very much. Neither is Hope. Evangeline Lilly really doesn't really use that much in this film. It's hard now. I get what you're saying about the girl playing Cassie Lane, Kathryn Newton. It's hard to be better than that little girl though. She's just so cute. I mean, like she had a very tough act to follow. Tough act to follow. I don't know why they recast it though, because I feel like the girl who played his daughter in Multiverse of Madness, a certain that like these movies, certain names are starting to blur together. Endgame. The girl who played his daughter in Endgame. I don't. I mean, she did a fine job in that movie for the scene that we saw her in. I don't know why she couldn't have been in this movie because I don't think this actor did much with the thing with the part. But like I said, I'm also comparing her to the little girl who's adorable. So it's hard to be compared to a child actor who's that cute. Um, I don't know. There's a bunch of cameos in here. When we I don't know how much of a spoiler I want to get into like the cameos, but like all of these people are wasted. And there was like one actor actually that I liked, and I was hoping that he would show up like later on in the MCU. And I don't know why he took this meeting. I mean, I feel like if you get the call from Marvel, you take the meeting, but he shouldn't have taken this part. Like he should have waited for. He should have shown up in like Wakanda at some point in the future. Like it was a waste of him. It was an absolute waste of him. But yeah, it was. I think we were talking earlier about where this ranks within the MCU. I don't know where it ranks within the MCU because I haven't had time to actually think about the ranking within the overall MCU. But I told you guys that I rank it above the last Ant-Man movie, and the main reason I rank it above the last Ant-Man movie is Jonathan Majors, who I don't know if this is the best place to have him debut. I guess he technically debuted in Loki, but it's a completely different character. If you saw Loki, this is a completely different person. So which is like just speaks to like the range of Jonathan Majors and like how his ability to act and like show up as a completely different person, even though it's technically, I guess, the same person. But yeah, the villain in this was exceptional because of Jonathan Majors. Every time he was on screen, he was just interesting to watch, and in his subtlety, and it's like his seething like anger and like yeah, we can talk more about it when we get into the spoiler breakdown. But he was really great.
He just needed a better movie.
Yeah, he needed to be in a better movie because there's a whole lot of random noise going on around him. But yeah, he's definitely a presence on the screen whenever you see him. So yeah, I think under our new rating system, I think I would give this like a like a dinner. Well, I'd probably give this the date night, like a 6 out of 10. So like, yeah, it's something that you could go and see with your significant other if you wanted to, but yeah, and it wouldn't destroy your date night, I guess. But yeah, it's not honestly, it's not something that you have to go to the theater to see. You can really wait to see this on Disney Plus. Because even the action scenes, even the spectacle scenes, are just so like CGI heavy and muddy that it's not like something you have to see in the theater. I feel like if they were going to do something like this, because the other thing that we're talking about is that this is sort of like a theme park ride. If they were going to do this, they should have shot it like James Cameron shot Avatar, so to actually give you like a 3D experience. Because I hear that movie isn't that great either. I mean, like narratively, but there's a lot of like visual interestingness that's happening. So they should have shot it that way to give it more of a movie going experience to make the argument for having to go to see it in the theater. But like right now, it's just like a lot of CGI thrown at the screen that's all 2D. So.
Yeah, I mean,
you can see it in 3D, but it's not a 3D first movie. So yeah,
I did see it in 3D. So there's really nothing of value to see it in 3D, unfortunately. So nothing really stuck out or popped. It should have been a brilliant opportunity to do that.
It was an afterthought. Yeah, it was an afterthought. Yeah. The 3D was an afterthought. Yeah. So in movies like this this is why like James Cameron keeps like trying to push the envelope with the 3D movies, but no one shoots movies like that. Like no one thinks of it 3D first. That's why it failed after he made Avatar, and then a bunch of other people made 3D movies and they failed because they never thought about the 3D visuals first. So yeah, that's how I think. How would you guys rate it in our using our system?
I rated same as you, 6 out of 10. Avatar to me was still a better experience, better viewing experience, absolutely better 3D. I saw it in 3D and I saw it in 4D. There's a lot of, it really was a roller coaster ride for me. So all the action scenes, again, they came off a little bland, but again, 6 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably about a 7 because of Jonathan Majors. So he probably just elevated just a little bit because of him being very compelling. So 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the 7 for me is like our rating system at the dinner party. I don't think like we're going to talk about it for about an hour, but I don't think that I would want to have like a dinner party and talk about this for an hour. I feel like I would have to pick a better movie. I wouldn't want to waste everyone's time to talk about this movie unless like we would have like a 10 or 15, maybe 20-minute conversation about Jonathan Majors and not having much of anything else to talk about if I rated 7. But I appreciate, like, I mean, this is all subjective, so yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
you want to get into the, I guess we'll start breaking it down. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Let's do it.
So let's get into it. Before we do that, if you're enjoying the conversation, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. And with that, spoilers ahead. All right, so we have notes about everything that happened in the movie. I'm not sure how you would you guys want to jump around? Do you want to talk about specific things? Because, like I said, it's kind of like there's a bunch of stuff that just was thrown at the screen. None of it really stuck, except for Jonathan Majors' performance. There's very little emotional resonance in this movie. So, like, I mean, the scenes between Michelle Pfeiffer and him are very good. But yeah, what do you want to talk about specifically?
Can we talk about MODOK? because I have a suspicion that I have a suspicion that a lot of the score, the lowest score, is because of his involvement in this, and I think that that's where people got completely turned off by the movie because of his introduction to it. I mean, the whole thing was okay. I would grant you that it's fairly creative as to how of his origin story, but honestly, it's it's a ridiculous character, so it's like they're trying to play on the ridiculousness of the character. So
I mean, yeah, MODOK.
But maybe that's why they, like, people had such a distaste for this movie, is because of him in the movie. That's what I think.
MODOK,
I mean, it's like
MODOK,
you know.
Yeah, MODOK.
Well, his face. I mean,
it's like
the face was terrible. I mean, I thought the CG was terrible on his face.
I mean, it was okay. I think that what they were trying to go for was grotesque. Like, they weren't, like, that was obviously not actually like Darren, like Darren Cross. What's his name?
Darren Cross.
Darren Cross. Corey Stoll.
Corey Stoll's. That was actually obviously not Corey Stoll's face. It was like a recreation of Corey Stoll's face. They were trying to make him look like grotesque. It's not like they just mapped his face on there but.
I know, but it just looked like the way they did it was they just zoomed in, into his face and squished him.
It's like, hi, how are you?
It looked terrible. Yeah, it didn't look great. Yeah, it looked like Annoying Orange, if you remember that show.
Yeah, he wasn't that, like, at the point, like, and he would take the mask off, and I guess to make the he would put the mask on and take it off. And whenever he took the mask off, it was always like grotesque and weird. And he kept taking it off, and everyone's reaction every time they saw his face was like. But I don't think that. I mean, it wasn't that great of a joke to put in there in the first place. He wasn't that interesting.
No, he wasn't.
They could have cut him out of the. They could have cut him out of the movie. They could have
correct.
They could have cut all the freedom fighters out of the movie. So like I said, William Jackson Harper is as Quaz. Like, he deserved a better Marvel project. He did absolutely nothing from The Good Place. If you guys don't know the name, the guy who played Chidi from The Good Place, he's a good actor. He deserved to be in something better than this, in a part better than this.
And MODOK, they've got to. To me, it's now a pattern, right? Where you're taking a guy that used to be a bad guy, and you got to find some redemption story for him. It seems now like several Marvel movies where they're trying to do that. The bad guy's not really a good guy. I'm sorry. The bad guy's not really a bad guy after all. Let's find a way for him to come back.
Trevor.
What are you talking about? Trevor?
I'm talking about MODOK, Trevor, who else? In Spider-Man No Way Home, like, we had many characters in that one as well. It's like, so a bad guy's not a bad guy anymore. Trevor Slattery.
Trevor and Shang-Chi.
Oh, I mean, he was never really a bad guy, though. He was a joke. I thought
he's one of them.
I thought you were thinking about Gore, but Gore, even in the comics, I don't think he was someone who was slighted. But yeah, I mean, MODOK,
Gore's another one. Yep, Gore's another one. Yeah.
I think Modoc. I think Modoc. I get what you're saying. He of the everyone that you listed there are more straightforward. Is a more straightforward villain and like a ridiculous villain. I don't know if he's on the level of Kang, but they don't really even interact much at all or at all
No, I
in the
mean
comics.
Corey
So like,
Stoll's character in the first Ant-Man was the villain, right? And
yeah,
now we have another redemption story for this guy, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
Um,
I'm it's to me it's a cliche now, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like it's a cliche.
yeah. I mean, that didn't bother me as much as I just didn't want to see him. Like, if he died in the first movie, that would have been fine. I didn't like. If they brought him back, they need to bring him back as Modoc. If they like, I understand like they want to try to put as much of the comics as possible and on the big screen, and some people want to see that, but like if you don't have an interesting way of introducing a character, I don't know if this was. I mean, I know Modoc is a ridiculous character, so maybe this is the best that they could have done, and if this is the best they could have done, they probably should not have done it. Like just like
Yeah.
not do
I,
Modoc, just not do
yeah,
Modoc.
that's the thing. It's like don't bother if it's gonna
Yeah,
not fit in, then don't fit it in. I think
yeah,
that's something that they I think it's mainly is probably because of arrogance. I maybe not. I don't know, but it's just so strange that they're trying to fit this in, and he's not in the comics like in an Ant-Man comic or in a Fantastic Four comic. And I know that Peyton Reed, has been said in Hollywood, well, in the whole rumor mill internet, that he really wanted to direct Fantastic Four, and so this was his bringing Kang in, was kind of like his way of like presenting Fantastic Four in some ways, because you can see the family dynamic of Hope and of Janet and of Hank
sure.
and Scott and Cassie. So it's like, oh, that's his version of the Fantastic Four against Kang the Conqueror. So
I I
I could see it, but I don't know whether it's done really good in some ways. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, whether how effective it was.
if that's the case, I'm glad he lost that job. It's like, like this, he needs to stay away from the Fantastic Four, and he made this is the third movie from him that I think were. The first one was the best of the three. I don't need any more movies from him. Um, any more Marvel movies from him. There's
But you
like
don't know. But you
any
don't even know if the first movie was because of Edgar Wright. You don't know that. You don't even
right.
know whether or
It's
not
possible that
like
Edgar
Edgar
Wright did
Wright
a
is
bunch of work.
fired and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's possible
Exactly.
Edgar
So
Wright
you
did a
don't
bunch
even
of work
know.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't need any more Marvel movies from him. All the Marvel movies he's made have been like middle of the pack. And like the best one was the first one, and like you said, it could have been a whole lot of pre-production that Edgar Wright did before he
Mm-hmm.
they parted ways. So yeah, yeah, I'm glad that they made the decision that he shouldn't touch Fantastic Four. I think they need someone a little bit more skilled at the helm there, who has more of a vision. So like they're the best Marvel, I think directors have a vision and also can work inside of the machine. And I feel like he's just a cog in the machine.
Mm,
Um, he does everything. The three act Marvel structure. The big thing at the end.
yeah.
And, I mean, this is the most messy of a third act thing. A third act battle thing that he's done. But yeah, it was like I said, it was the movie was fine, but all his movies are fine. Like
Yeah.
none of them are. I think Ant-Man was good, and the other ones were fine. And I think, like I
Yeah,
said, this one is better because I don't think that it was because of like his direction. I think his Jonathan Majors is like an exceptional actor, and like
Mm-hmm.
he's obviously not just working with him to define this character. He's working with Kevin Feige and a bunch of other producers as well to define this character. So I don't think it was like Peyton Reed's direction that brought that performance out of Jonathan Majors.
Mm.
So yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. We could go ahead.
Yeah. I just think that it's I mean, that also speaks in itself that hopefully Matt Chapman? He's like
Mm-hmm.
he's going to be the one that's directing Fantastic Four. He also directed
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the WandaVision stuff. So Nathan, you might end up being very happy about that because he did a lot of the WandaVision. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
given how well WandaVision show came out, I'm happy about that decision. I mean, we'll see how it actually shakes out, but he I think he did a good job on WandaVision, except for like
Mm.
again the Marvel third act stuff where I don't think there would need to be a battle in the air that
Mhm.
that last episode, but
Oh
like the
yeah,
major
I remember that.
like not but 95% of that show was great. It's probably one of my favorite Marvel shows. As we were talking about on our most anticipated video very recently. But yeah, all right. So you want to, I mean, run down this the specifics of what happened in this movie very quickly. I mean, we can talk for another, I guess, 20 minutes or so, or well, another 15-20 minutes or so. Like I said, I don't know that there's a whole lot to go into here because there's a whole lot of preamble about Kang because he gets defeated at the end of this movie, but he's not really defeated. I don't know if this one is the actual conqueror because at the end. I mean, we can talk about the end credit scenes really quickly. So
Yeah.
we get Ramatut, we get Immortus, and we get the Scarlet Centurion as the triumvirate of the Council of Kang talking in the mid credit scene, and then we get Victor Timely and kind of like a preview of Loki season 2 at the end in the end
Hmm.
credit scenes. So yeah, so I'm not I'm not mad at them doubling down on Jonathan Majors because I think they did a very good job choosing him as the big bad. I just think like this, like I said, this is not the best movie for him to like debut in. Um, so like the fact that it was like Jonathan Majors in the mid and in the end credit was fine for me. I'm looking forward to what they hopefully there's something more interesting in Loki than we got
Hmm.
here with him. And I don't know which
I
one we're
mean,
going to get.
yeah,
We're going to get it in Loki.
yeah. I don't even know which of the Phase Five movies he's gonna appear in. I mean, honestly, I mean, if you look at the slate, I mean, they all have their own different things. Maybe the Marvels, maybe, but I just
I mean,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure besides Loki where he's gonna fit in to any of the Phase Five stuff.
so I would expect him in Fantastic Four.
Right.
If they don't do Victor Doom, Von Doom,
Hmm.
and I would expect him in of course the Kang Dynasty and also the Secret Wars movie. But I don't know where else besides
Yeah.
those three.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense for us to like start Phase Five and then if he's going to be the overarching villain of this thing, like yeah, I think that Loki season 2 might be a good way to kind of like weave it in, but then like where's the continuity then? It's going to be like until Fantastic Four doesn't come out until Phase 6. So it's like I just is it too early or is it like or
No.
is he going to be like some other type of is going to be some type of overhead type of thing in some of the more grounded films like Captain America or Thunderbolts
I
or something
think
like that.
from what I get from Kang's speech to Janet when he brought her back to his citadel after he took the orb from Scott when she
Mm-hmm.
when he asked what did you actually see? We didn't have a whole lot of time to like unpack what you saw, and then he explained the multiverse and the excursions that are happening. These are the same
Right,
excursions that
versions, yeah.
who remained
Mm-hmm. Yep.
mentioned at the end of Loki. They're the same excursions that the Illuminati mentioned in Multiverse of Madness. I think
Right.
this is going to be just more of the madness happening that like the Kangs playing around with time, like the Conqueror mentioned, they're just playing around with time like children. And I think that I think that'll be the main issue in Phase 5, like the maybe excursions and like maybe like universes blipping out of existence or like crashing into each other and
Mm-hmm.
causing problems until maybe the Conqueror rises again, because I don't know. It's not clear to me if he's actually dead. Because because we do need to stop the excursions. We've gotten two different Kangs that told us that that's an issue. Plus the Illuminati telling us that it's an issue. But
Right.
the Council of Kangs don't seem to think that it's an issue, and they're playing around with time, and they're in the like universes are like colliding with each other. So I think that'll be the issue, as opposed to like him trying to actually conquer the like the world or whatever. I think it's just him playing around with time is going to cause issues for our universe and all the neighboring universes. So I think that's the sense that I get from just putting the pieces together in Multiverse of Madness, Loki, this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still just hints, basically. You're saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John. Sorry about that.
Good.
Yeah, it's hard to see how much of a threat he's really going to be when he's dispatched in this movie by Ant-Man and the Wasp, who barely had a part in this. I get that he had his suit of armor, his battle suit damaged, and therefore he's somewhat depowered, and that's how they're able to defeat him. But if you're going to bring out a big bad and introduce him as a big bad, and granted, in this, what it was finally revealed in those mid-credit scenes is there's more big bads coming. I mean, you already dispatched one in this movie, and Ant-Man, who is not the most powerful one out of all of them, or they were trying to show he can be that powerful. I don't think it served the right purpose, or it accomplished what it wanted to by doing it that way. And to me, it made Jonathan Majors' character, Kang, not seem so formidable. He did a great job. And we were saying before, for the spoiler-free review, that he needs a better movie. But I don't know what they really accomplished by having a Kang show up and get dispatched by Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, it does. It undercuts him a little bit, because it undercuts him a little bit. Again, I don't know which Kang is going to be part of the like the Kang dynasty, if it's this one or another one. But if this one was so troublesome that the rest of the Kangs had to banish him there, that kind of shows that he was kind of one of the top dogs. And then they have Ant-Man dispatch him.
Yep. Exactly. So
like, obviously not the top dog, because obviously those three at the end are the top dogs or whatever. But like he was enough of a problem that they decided to like to banish him there, because he was like destroying entire universes. You know, some of the other ones might destroy universes as well, but apparently maybe they play better with the other Kangs. So I don't know. It's hard for me to think of someone who a Kang that's going to be more imperious than this one. Like, because he wanted to burn, like, He Who Remain also came up with a solution for the excursions, but like I feel like the Conqueror's solution was going to be far more violent. Like he was going to burn everyone else out of existence, as opposed to the Who Remain at the end. His solution was to make sure that no other universes even were created by creating the TVA. So I don't know. We'll see where they go with this, but and maybe it's a lack of imagination on my end, but I can't see anyone worse than trying to destroy every other universe except for the one that you want. Like, not letting universes be created is a little bit different than like destroying the ones that have been created.
And that was the problem I had with the story choice they made. Like, of all the stories they picked, they went completely in a different direction from 1 and 2. And I ranked the first and second movie above this movie. I thought they bit off more than they can chew by going so big in this small universe, which is a whole new world, whole new setting for them. And to bring Kang, an Avengers-level threat, into the picture for him to face off against.
Sometimes he's fighting the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, and maybe it's like some X-Men show up at the same time. That's how much of a
Exactly.
was
All of
trouble.
them have to fight him, right?
Yeah.
And then, but you only again, and that's what we're saying. He got easily dispatched. Not easily, but he got dispatched by just 3 of them. In this case, just 2 of them. And that's the problem I had with the story choice here. I mean, and then of course it's very serious, and the way he's introduced, a lot of it is exposition and flashbacks, a little bit too much, I think. So it just kind of, to me, just threw the rhythm off a little bit of being in this world. And on top of all that, the title is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Nathan, you said it. What happened to the Wasp, right? The Wasp is supposed to be there.
Like,
and she barely had a part.
unless you expand that out to saying, okay, Ant-Man, there were 2 different Ant-Mans, there were 2 different Wasps. The Wasp in this movie is the Michelle Pfeiffer Wasp. She's the Wasp that takes the front stage in this movie. But Evangeline Lilly, she doesn't really. I mean, I don't know how she feels about anything. Like, there was a scene at the beginning where Scott gets called to jail to bail out Cassie, and she's just in the car. Like, she's like, they could have been a sack of potatoes in that seat. Like, she doesn't respond or say anything. He's talking back and forth. Like, she has some expressions, but she doesn't come down on one side or the other of that conversation. Doesn't seem to really come down on one side or the other of the conversation at the dinner table with the pizza. Like, I don't know what she's doing in this movie. Like at least Hank had a position at the dinner table. Like, he wanted to help out Cassie. Like, the sense was that he was helping out Cassie with hope, because she knew about the antenna as well, but like, she didn't really say anything or do anything. Like, she was very concerned about her parents. She suited up when they got sucked down to the quantum realm to go after her parents, but like, besides that, and like pushing her mother to talk, and her mother took way too long before she talked.
So can we talk about that? That, to me, right there, was like the biggest frustration in this movie for me. Was that is what was driving the plot forward. The fact that Janet won't say anything, won't tell anyone anything what the hell's going on, the backstory. That was one of the big criticisms we had in The Last Jedi, when Holdo would not tell anyone what the hell the plan was, right? Until the last minute, when, you know what, finally we're at a point in the movie where she can reveal it. And that was frustrating as hell. To me, it was like a typical sitcom type of trope or plot device, where it's, hey, we must do this in secret, or it cannot be revealed. It cannot be revealed until the right time in the show or the movie or whatever.
I mean,
it was absolutely frustrating.
I mean, I think what the screenwriter will probably say is that she was ashamed that she helped him, and she was ashamed that she was like, as soon as she had to take it out, she was like, deuces to all the people that she left with him.
Oh my god! I left them all to die.
Yeah, like, but like
screw the quantum realm. I
mean, but once they got down there, I feel like she should have like opened up a little bit quicker. But like, once she got like, I mean, I didn't even understand the whole, like, we have a few images from the movie. The whole conversation in this room, like, in the quantum, like, why exactly were they sending messages down to the quantum realm? It made no sense whatsoever. Like, why did they create this antenna? Because they had to create, like, what was the point of her creating this in the first place? Like, to get to
So correct me if I'm wrong. At the end of the second Ant-Man movie, did they not have Scott go into the quantum realm? Wasn't that the quantum realm?
He used the ship. He used the ship though. Like, it wasn't Scott. It was it was Scott. Sorry, Scott. Hank went in first to get Janet.
No. I'm talking about the end of the movie.
Talking about the end of
the very end of the movie, the mid-set credit screen.
He was trapped there. That's how, and he got out.
So the experiment there with Janet watching, it was totally okay at the time to go back into the quantum realm, but now she's got a problem with it. I feel like there's a disconnect here or inconsistency,
because
right?
this movie wasn't written yet.
Yeah, because you would think at the time, if they had
Yeah.
foreseen that this would be the next step in the story, Janet would be like, "No, what are you doing? Why are you going to the quantum realm? I forbid it." Right? And here's why. Let me explain. Because if she explained it then, we wouldn't have an Ant-Man 3 going into the quantum realm, right? So,
Yeah, and also maybe they could explain it and say, hey, when they got blipped, some memory
yeah,
memory got wiped out. Who knows? Something to deal with the memory and things like that. Oh, we kind of forgot to tell you that,
yeah.
Oh, we're maybe just caught up in the happiness that they just came back, from the blip. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, she did say just go in there and get some quantum particles and come back immediately because they were, and then they got blipped. So that was part of the dialogue, if you remember. Like she
I see. Yes.
Said, and don't get sucked into a time vortex. And then they got blipped away.
Yeah.
So maybe she was like, okay, he's not going to go in that deep. I don't know, but like, yeah, her caginess came out of nowhere because it wasn't really there in the second movie.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like and don't get me wrong, I thought she was great.
No. Michelle Pfeiffer was excellent in this movie,
and she had more to do in this movie too. So
yeah, like she was the Wasp in this movie. She was the. I mean, even though she didn't have the suit, she was the you kind of saw that she was obviously a hero with Hank in the 80s. Just how she was moving at the beginning, the teaser at the very beginning, the fight in the casino. Like she could handle herself, and the narrative really wouldn't make any sense without her and her interaction with Kang. So she did really good work. But like, yeah,
she did.
But Evangeline Lilly here didn't really have anything to do except for like
they did her wrong.
Prod her mother, sit there and react to people, and then kiss Scott at the end. And
she did have some action scenes. It's not like she didn't do.
No. She had action scenes. Everyone had action scenes, but none of the action scenes.
But they didn't revolve around her. She would. She supported them or supplemented, right?
Right.
Or complimented, but. Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't have gotten the orb without her, but like, because I mean, he did eventually, like, in the probability storm, start cooperating with himself, but they even that didn't require her assist. But yeah, I don't know. But like I said, Michelle Pfeiffer. In the beginning, this fight scene in the casino was great. She was great in this movie. But like I think that they really didn't have anything to. They had a lot of characters and didn't have anything for anyone to do except for Michelle Pfeiffer, Paul Rudd, and Jonathan Majors. I guess his daughter to a certain extent, but like I said, the emotional resonance that was supposed to be in this movie was supposed to be between him and his daughter, and I didn't really feel it.
Yeah, it was a little bit there, but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't very strong, and I personally think it had to do with. I hate to pick on her, but Kathryn Newton's acting or the way she just kind of portrayed the character, it just came off a little uneven. She came off really annoying to me. I hate to say it like that, but she was like arrogant, right?
Yeah, she was annoying. Yeah.
And to put that all together, it's kind of hard to get behind a character like that. I know what they were trying to do. They're trying to, show like, hey, here's this girl that's very progressive, and she's really taking it to her dad for being complacent, especially after being a world hero. I was like, man, like take it back down a notch. You're like, get off your high horse, right? And
how is she different from Kate Bishop though? Kate Bishop was very similar in a lot of ways, but I mean, Bishop, I could see
like that actress though. She like the actress that made
the actress.
So I was as you were talking, John. I was thinking about all the young Avengers that have been debuted so far. Like this Stature is probably not. She's not at the very bottom because I feel like America Chavez is at the very bottom because they didn't really give her much to do either. But she's like the second to the last for me. Like every other young Avenger that we've seen has been more interesting than America Chavez, and even actually America Chavez had some moments in that movie,
Correct.
like she had some moments like when she actually started to believe in herself, which
Hmm.
I feel like had more of an emotional impact with me than anything that she did in this movie, really. So she might be at the bottom for me of the new Young Avengers. So they might have to recast her again. I mean, I don't know what.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't.
She came off like she was 12 to me. I'm sorry. I don't know what age they're trying to portray her. I'm guessing she should be way past 18 by now to be arrested and such. But she
Yeah.
came off like she was 12, 13, or 14 some of the scenes, and I think that was a misstep.
I,
That was
I
really a
mean, in
misstep.
the Ant-Man movie, the second one, she was how old was she? Like 8 or
She's
something?
probably tween age.
Nah, she looked younger
Tween.
than that.
No, she was like 7, 8, or 9, I think.
7 or 8,
Right.
and it's only and the blip was
Yeah.
only 5 years. So like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, she was annoying. She,
Maybe she
I
was in her teens then. So was she? What was she? 12 then? Let's say she was
yeah.
12 in that movie.
Yeah, I
Right?
think in Ant-Man and the Wasp, she was
No,
in
I
her
don't think she was 12.
tweens more so
I don't think no. I
than
don't think she
Man,
was a
because
tween. I don't think she was a tween.
no
I really think she was
eight
like
or
at
nine.
most 10. I think she was at most
Okay.
10. So she should be like 15. Maybe if you give her 12, she would have to. She would like be like a young looking 12. So like she um she would be 17 now. Um, but like
17
yeah,
getting arrested and yeah.
yeah.
So
Uh,
that's
yeah,
either way. Kathryn Newton, Emma Furman was the first actress playing the bigger version, the more grown
yeah,
up version of Cassie. Maybe
yeah.
they should have given her a shot.
I don't know. Maybe they did. I mean, my understanding is that they do plan ahead generally, so they had to know that they were going to use Stature for something like
Yeah.
like. So I don't know. So maybe they should have. I don't know. They it was kind of a waste of character.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jonathan Majors
Well,
is great.
Speaking of waste,
yes,
can we
Bill
talk about the
Murray.
wasted cameo?
Bill Murray. Go ahead, John.
Yeah,
Do that.
So Bill Murray, hey, I love Bill Murray when I see him in some of these funny parts. I'm not sure about some of the real world Bill Murray. I'm hearing lots of bad stuff lately, but
yeah. I think that's probably. I think his
he's
part was
he
probably cut down because of his
it was cut that because of that.
his
Okay. Well, Bill Murray, along with some other cameos that we've seen recently in Marvel movies, they all seem to be a waste. I mean, they come and go, and what purpose do they really serve other than stunt casting or some
mm-hmm.
stunt characters to just show up and because it's fan service? So it's like, hey, Bill Murray, and then he's gone, and that's it,
Yeah,
right? Just and same
yeah,
thing with some of the other movies that we've seen where we see some stunt casting or again character just popping in and they seem to be they just come and go very quickly and they don't really push the narrative any further or they don't really
yeah.
have a presence there. That's just it. That's it. That's what we see. And I felt like another waste of this casting.
Honestly, I think he was more of a waste than Zeus in Thor. Like I'm thinking back to other people who were like stunt cast like Zeus, like what you call it,
Yeah.
what's his name?
Russell Crowe.
That was kind of that Russell Crowe. He was kind of like a nothing, except for the end credit scene when it seems like he wanted to get revenge. But like
Correct.
it seemed to be more. And actually, you know what? It's also the way that Taika shot that movie. I've seen a bunch of um, 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 remove scenes that he had a bunch more in that movie. And maybe Bill Murray had a bunch more in this movie. And like I said, he's just very
Maybe.
problematic right now.
Yep.
He's very problematic right now, and they did.
Yeah.
I heard a story this week that on the red carpet for the premiere, they had the entire cast there, and he was
Except for
there,
him.
and they didn't.
Yeah.
And they didn't let him get in the picture because they just didn't want to have conversations about why he was in the picture. So like,
man.
So, yeah. So yeah, that was useless, and most of the other characters in this movie were really useless. But like I said, Jonathan Majors, this whole scene, like if I rewatch this movie, it won't be for anything except for to rewatch this scene at the jail cells.
Yeah,
because it was really good. It was really good. Like and then you get and also maybe the backstory stuff, because you got that scene afterwards. She actually started when they got on the ship, when they left the casino, Kryler's casino. She finally broke down and told her the backstory of what Kang, like, this is more than halfway through the movie. What went down. So yeah. Just like the way that he holds himself in space, like it's like he's just looking down on him in so many different ways. Like,
he did veer into a little bit of Darth Vader, just like for a little bit of a second, tiny bits of seconds. He was like veering toward that. But at the same time, they own each other, so it's not as though it's like a big deal. But there were
when
some.
You say Darth Vader when he. Oh, you mean when he's moving people around with but
right.
Sure,
and also there's some other like parts where it's like the menacing part, the with him being like with the marching orders and stuff like that. It's very similar in that regard, but I mean, I still enjoyed it very much. But of course, they did borrow a little bit from him, though, just a little bit, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard other reviews saying that this is like Star Wars. I don't really see it, really, to me.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, a lot of Rick and Morty.
Yeah. This is absolutely Rick and Morty.
And the writer is from Rick and Morty. The writer of this movie is from Rick and Morty.
That explains a lot.
This reminded me a lot of what's that Bruce Willis movie? The one in the future.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. The color palette reminds me of like Fifth Element. Just all the psychedelic colors and the weirdness. It doesn't really remind me of Star Wars. I'm not sure why people were saying this is like Star Wars.
Well, there's a
I understand there's a rebellion and stuff like that, but like
right, exactly. Sure. That
cantina, the speeder. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sand speeder, that all.
Yeah, use the force. Sure, but those are not. Kang used the force.
Not really sand speeders. They're like, I understand. Like the desert fight was like useless and that's not like ridiculous, but like like all the ships that they have there are like they're a mix of technology and like the microorganisms that are down there. So like
but the other part that I would say. And I agree with them on the Star Wars comparison, is episode 1, 2, and 3. Almost all of those movies were completely with CG backgrounds.
Yeah, yep.
Right?
True.
And looking back at those movies, to me, it's just as jarring to see that, oh man, this is so fake looking in the background. And don't get me wrong, it's still, everything looked great in this movie, the way they used the volume in the back. But at the same time, I can tell it's the volume behind them, right?
Yeah.
So the whole movie, when you first see it, it's like, oh, wow, cool. They're in a new world. But when you're seeing it for the majority of the movie, 80, 90% of the movie, that kind of wore on me as well. When you're watching, you're just like, it's so fake looking.
It doesn't look like a world. It looks like a set. It looks like some art.
It looks like a set. Yep.
They're standing in front of some art, basically. Which is
basically, I mean, you see some things in the foreground, and you see some of the real set pieces and all that, which they've done a great job on that too. But again, there were many things behind him where, as nice as it looked, you could still tell they're in a studio. So it looked expensive and cheap at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I saw it.
Yeah. I guess this is the scene where before he jumped into the probability storm at the edge of the orb, and I think this is after Scott grew big and had. Well, I think this is after Hope threw Scott, and he grew big and threw off the whatchamacallit, because you can see that the room is destroyed there a little bit before Kang left the Citadel and started wrecking everyone, just vaporizing people. But yeah, the other thing, like you said, the undercutting, like honestly, Ant-Man didn't beat him. Like a bunch of ants.
Yeah, that boxing match. That boxing match at the end was like, no, you're not gonna beat him like straight fist fight. I mean, he's in Creed 3.
Yeah,
you see how
especially
risky
after a Creed 3's trailer.
I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa! It's like there's no
Yeah,
reason why
yeah.
Paul Rudd can stand toe to toe with him. No reason at all. Like, and they showed, and there was
and they showed him like Paul Rudd was hitting him, and like his face, like his head would move, and he's like, it turned back. It's like,
there was actually one scene. There was actually one scene where his bicep got exposed. I'm like, no, you're not beating him. I'm like, you're not beating him up. Seriously, Paul Rudd, stop. Just stop.
He's in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it was mostly the ants, which was again the other one of the criticisms that I heard is that there's a bunch of shortcuts. The ants like developing for 1,000 years is a shortcut. The ooze so that they're not speaking a different language is a shortcut, and it's not like it's a bunch of shortcuts. So like honestly, you say the Ant-Man beat him, but really they made a shortcut where like ants evolved even past where Kang came from, because I don't think he's 1,000 years in the future. I think he's several hundred years in the future. So like I don't know. Like
Ants and MODOK, right? Was it help depower him so that Ant-Man and the Wasp can beat Kang?
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, and this she came back and she helped him. And he was pulled down to wherever, I guess. So I don't think that he. I mean, if he's pulled down to a very similar place that Scott was at, he's probably just in a very similar like probability storm. But he's not gonna cooperate with himself. He'll be trapped down there forever. So he might as well be dead. So yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any other thoughts about this
thought right here about this scene right here? I think that first of all, you thought about the emotional impact. I mean, you kind of felt some emotion, but it's not like overly dramatic type of emotion, or you cared enough to like feel that type of emotion between the two. Yes, you sense that they have a familial structure, and it's very important. But I just think that it's still like, okay, yeah, they're family, they like each other.
Yeah.
It's not overplayed as like Fast and Furious or even Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're just there. It's not you don't have any emotional attachment to it. But I also thought that this scene right here, that they were going to be trapped there. And
so did I.
I was like, man, that would have been a
better ending.
Exactly.
That would have been a more interesting ending. Yes, it would have been a more interesting ending. But
that would
like
have been a more
this movie barely does anything interesting unless Jonathan Majors is on the screen. Like that would have been an interesting movie. Like I mean, honestly, this is a bad ending to this trilogy. If they gave him 4 movies like they gave Thor 4 movies, and they have to figure out how to get him out of the quantum realm in the 4th movie, that would have been an interesting movie. But like, yeah, they just reset everything to the beginning. So like, pretty much nothing.
It's reset.
Happened.
Yeah. Status quo. That's right. And that's what was when it ended for me. I was like, what? That was it. And even with the mid credits and end credit scenes, it was just not enough. So, but back to what you were saying, Colin, if I had to redo the movie myself, if I had any, clout money to make movies and such, Evangeline Lilly's character would have been the focal point for me, telling from her perspective, a story through her, or make a Jonathan Majors movie, make a Kang movie or something like that. I think both of them, it was a missed opportunity for that. And the one character we missed that were in the first 2 movies that I really, really missed, Luis. How do you make an Ant-Man movie without Luis, right? He was sorely missed, I thought.
I was going to say a couple people. So like Luis, her mother, like they have a birthday dinner for her at the end. Was her mother there? I don't think her mother was there. Did you see her?
Nope. Judy Greer. No, she wasn't there.
Judy Greer wasn't there, or her stepfather wasn't there either. It's like they didn't want to pay for these people. They brought a bunch of other people randomly. Yeah. It didn't seem like an Ant-Man movie.
Oh, and Wu had just a quick scene.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
Come on.
It was basically a cameo. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
guess
if you have Wu and you have Luis, I think would have been a funnier, better. So.
yeah, it wasn't. I think they were trying to go for funny though, like, but it wasn't. It wasn't as funny as the other movies. Really, I mean, like I said, I think it was
So,
better than the second one
yeah.
because of Jonathan Majors, but it wasn't as funny as the other ones.
So
So
they went backwards, right? It's like they swapped. It's almost like Taika should have done this movie, and maybe Peyton should have done the more serious movie with Thor, and in this one they went a little bit more serious. It was still had funny scenes, but I don't
yeah,
know. I really Luis and Randall Park's characters. So.
all right. So yeah, we've been talking for more than an hour now, which is probably more than the movie deserves. So I guess we could wrap it up. But do you agree with us? Let us know. Comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out some of our other things, like our most anticipated movies of the year video. All right, guys. See you later. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.